Hi, I hope your day is going great and welcome to Stir Up Your Purpose channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today I wanted to continue the series on Alfred Aiken's letters. These are letters that Alfred Aiken sent out to subscribers all over the world in response to questions that they sent to him. I started that series. I've just done one video on this Alfred Aiken letter series. So if you've not watched the last video I did, you can check it out. I was looking at which one, because normally what Alfred does is that in most of his books, the last few chapters or so, he includes those letters he sends out. And I was trying to check which one I'm going to do. And I also, apart from these books I bought, I also bought this monthly letters volumes. It's called Monthly Letters Volume 1 and 2. And I also have Volume 3 and 4. These ones came in, I received them July 22nd. And I've not really gone through the works here, the letters he sent. Maybe I've read probably just about 4 pages, and since July I've not really gone back to it. So when I was thinking about just a couple of days, I was saying I gotta do another of this letter series because I really enjoy them. Why? Main reason is that you get to, when you read an author's book, you might not really get an insight to the workings of their mind. And I love the way Alfred actually included these letters in his books and his works. It gives you, that is, you can read in between the lines. It gives you ideas on the way he emphasizes his teachings. His teaching is all about this principle that God is all is God. There is no in between, there is no middle ground. It's all God. Everything in between is nothing more than that existing in the puny human mind and does not exist in God. So, like I said, I was looking at doing another letter, and I was thinking of probably reading one of those in one of the books, That Which Is. But like I said, I also received these monthly letters. It just came to my mind that why don't I just check the monthly letters? And that's when I was just, sometimes I find that, the depth of our soul kind of, I kind of chuckled to myself because I was trying to figure out, okay, which part of these letters I might probably read. And as I was going through it, I now landed on these letters, the one that he sent in March. I think that was it's called in volume 2, number 7, March 1961. And the interesting part, why I say I chuckled to myself about what the depth of our soul can do, especially I don't believe in coincidence. There is no coincidence. So for me, opening to this page, which is actually page 171 of how many pages is in this particular volume? There are about 223 pages. And ironically, I now, found myself on this particular letter that Alfred wrote in March 1961. And the interesting part, interesting part is the fact that it has to do with a letter about the outcome of elections in U.S., in United States of America. So I said, wow, what an interesting thing. And this is a moment that our neighbors down south. Well, I live in Canada. Our neighbors down south are at the moment waiting for the result of the great election, So it's interesting now to see that actually there was something that happened in 1961. I'm not too sure which election Alfred must be referring to, because this letter is March 1961. I'm not sure whether it was an election that happened in 1960 that he was referencing here. So I said, wow, this is interesting. It would be lovely to see the way Alfred, relates. Is there any relation? That's what the title is, more or less, right? The relationship. Is there any relationship between God and election? Does God influence the results of election? I was just wondering when I saw this particular response he gave, I said, this is interesting. I've read this part about 3 times to really, assimilate what Alfred, his thoughts around this election that happened a while ago. And I believe people were not too happy about what happened. So why don't you come along with me as I read this? I hope because I found it very interesting. But the key thing, the takeaway from this letter that Alfred sent out is still the same principle. Alfred never shifted. It's still about God is all is God. There is no in between. Anything that happens, elections, whatever it is. Anyway, let me read his work. Come along with me as I will go ahead now. Let me read it because I saved it. I kind of scanned this particular book and I saved it into my computer so that I can expand it and read it. It's clearer that way. Okay, so come along with me. As I said, I hope you follow, and I will also probably put some of my thoughts on what he said. So this is volume 2, number 7, March 1961. It reads, many questions have come in concerning the election. So like I said, I'm not sure which election this was. Probably was an election in USA in 1960. I'm not too sure what election that was. Maybe it was the one that has to do with, anyway, I'm not too sure. You can Google that. Maybe there was an election, but this letter was sent in March 1961. So he said, many questions have come in concerning the election. In this instance, it seems that some feel we have fallen short, that truth has failed. They wish to know wherein and why the election went the way it did, why dishonesty seems to be the victor, why all our truth knowing went for naught. So, like I said, it's interesting. As I'm doing this right now, the result in America is not out yet. He went on to say, such an assumption is not in accord with fact. Dear reader, truth is constant omnipresence, wherein there is no variableness, neither the possibility of separation, division, dissimulation, attack, or vanquishment. There is no change from allness to a state of less than allness. There is not a sudden coexistence inaugurated in omniscience. Infinite wisdom is still the alone all-wise one, wherein there can be naught contrary. Truth has not failed. Truth is total substance, all-inclusive absolute life. Naught beside exists, hence there is no challenge, no challenger, no challenge. Truth cannot be challenged. The unchallenged self alone is the sole power, presence, aliveness that it is, and there is naught else. He went on to say, he who would assume that in some way truth has failed in giving a good showing for itself is he who has been judging after the seeing of the eye and the hearing of the ear. In other words, his frustration is born of the human sense, which decides what it considers right as opposed to what it considers wrong, and then sets about to establish his choice if it can. My friend, there is no judgment, no choice, only truth is, and it is. Regardless of what may salute the seeming educated or dualistic sense, once you have done your work as best as you know how, that is, you have turned wholly to the one alone, absolute reality, that is life being itself, namely, the I that I am, thus there can be naught beside. Then stand there, for this is authority. Should you return to the organic sense of human judgment in order to check on what truth is, that is, look for demonstration for what your eye can tell you of truth, you will be subject to all that flesh is here to. Once you admit truth to be absolute, total, complete, hence utter harmony, bliss, satisfaction, there should be no wavering, regardless of the pictures conjured up. If the picture seems contrary to what you may have thought was best, do not go tramping off into the woods and picnic with the suggestion, reacting to all that is the reverse of reality. Rather, stand on the allness of reality here and now, and stand and stand and stand. Where else will you find truth, save in truth only? Because the reverse is suggested to you, are you going to surrender what is so for a mere picture which paints truths as absent, weak, stupid, or dead? The louder the argument seems to scream, the more utter, total, complete should be your constant joy that only reality is real, only truth is true, only life is alive, and there is no mind or minds anywhere to refute, contradict, oppose, or challenge being. Against such, there is no power. He went on to say, when I know truth, that truth that is soul being, that is I, and yet there appears to be a continuing of error or a return of the error, I do not throw in the sponge. I do not retreat to the dark corner of human assumption, there to lick my wounds or suffer anguish that truth is not as powerful, as intelligent as I declared it was, or that it has been outthought and defeated by the enemy. There is no enemy where truth is. That is interesting. The way I interpret what Alfred is saying here is that no matter the outcome of an election, the most important thing is that as long as one has done his own part, that is stand in truth, you do not bother yourself about the outcome, because you've already declared truth. If the outcome seems to be contrary to what your expectation is, you don't get caught in all the whatever it is, of that outcome. You only stand still. You stand continuously in truth. Anyway, let me continue. He said, Yes, instead of the lie saying you can be defeated, it now says you have been defeated. But who or what says this? To whom, where, and why? By what authority? Certainly, it does not say it to truth, nor in the presence of truth, nor by the authority that truth eternally now is. Then, where is it going on, and who believes it? It is not going on anywhere in omnipotence. And where there is no additional mind anywhere, intelligence being the sole and only mind extant. Hold to fact, there is never a defeat to omnipresence, never an about face for omniscience, never a failure to life ever present, never a dark, doubtful, unhappy moment to omnipresent joy, the sole self that is I. There is no government anywhere, for there is only omnipotence in full, pristine, single action being. This leaves no otherness, whether of princes, potentates, senators, presidents, voters, or a populace. There is only mind, inclusive of its perfect ideas present. You know, as I read what Alfred is saying here, he's just saying that outside of truth, nothing is. Let's continue. He said, you, each and all, did good work by holding to the allness of one single truth, which is without otherness, duality, adultery. This left no personal mind to decide how it wanted the outcome to appear. If you worked for an outcome, then you are in the truths of metaphysics, the toils of cause and effect, the agony of trying to manipulate events in human affairs. So one with duality. But if you stayed with one total being, they are alone, all one, then continue to stand there, for this is truth which cannot be moved or overthrown. The seeming has nothing to do with it. We judge not by the eye or ear, but by omnipresent intelligence, which alone is all, the life there is being. This is not just for the duration of some seeming campaign, a short or a long haul, but forever now. Let none of these pictures move you. Truth remains all, unmoved forever. This is vital, all important. Stand steadfast and never doubt the identity you be. There is no more threat this moment than ever. Truth is, the planet called Earth is but an idea within mind only, conceived and perceived in its completeness, and owned solely by mind alone. It does not belong to any political party or parties, races, creeds, divisions, or multiplications. It can neither be added to or nor subtracted from. As idea, it remains forever where it is, namely in mind, and naught that is false or evil can exist on it or in it. Now, it went on to emphasize, again and again, we urge you not to judge, make decisions, weigh one against another, but to stay with the allness of all. Then do the sensible thing. Vote as you feel you should, but do not really be concerned with the outcome as such. Why? Because
You merely are doing what seems sensible. Meanwhile, rejoicing that all belongs to the one alone being that is I, and therein not beside is, or can be. In other words, there is no outcome being looked for, expected, desired, for all is the one alone already utterly satisfied in his total pure being. I'm trying to make it clear that to mind there is no decision, no choice, no otherness. To mind there is no demonstration needed or possible, for only truth is, hence only truth can be, and this leaves not to be dealt with in the line of failure or frustration. Truth is never a victor, for thus you will have to have another, namely the vanquished. Truth is all. This leaves no fight, no battle that can be waged honestly or dishonestly. No spoils that can fall to the evildoers or the doers of good. Those who have started with truth alone have done a grand job. Don't spoil it by going back to the flesh pots of superstition, assumption, frustration, demonstration, a demand for visible eye manifestation. None can truly behold the self I am while trying to see truth with the eye. Now he said, I guess this is a punchline. If the picture can force you to back down, it is obvious that you are not sure you begin with truth and truth alone. If you are sure, then no matter what happens to present itself, it will not produce a tremor or a trembling, a doubt or misgiving. The louder the evidence seems to yell, the more positive, serene, secure you are, abiding in truth, which alone is true and cannot be set aside. Never confuse truth with medication, a healing, or as a preventive agent. Truth is fact and does not alter or deal with fiction. Where truth is, evil is precluded, not prevented, not overcome, not vanquished. Too frequently, this point, so important, is overlooked, and the old metaphysical ways of dealing with error is resorted to. Consternation follows because the outlined decision, and always from a human standpoint, is not forthcoming. We are not in the demonstrating business. We are not in the outlining business. We are not in the overcoming business. We are not in the thwarting error business. We neither try to prevent nor circumvent evil. Truth knows no advent. Truth is, hence precludes aught beside. Seeing, admitting, conceding truth to alone be true leaves no unhappy minds anywhere, no scheming minds anywhere, no victorious or defeated minds anywhere, no other minds at all. This is truth. Let us stand on this alone. Let us constantly, consistently, persistently rejoice in the infallible, unchallenged, all-powerful, omniscient one, who is the sole self I be, this very moment. This is authority against which there can be no other. No breath of dissension, fear, anxiety, prophecy, destiny, threat, or corruption. No, dear reader, truth has not failed. Truth has not been defeated. Truth has not changed. Truth is still the only existence, the sole self-power, presence, action, being. inclusive of each and every perfect concept throughout its totality. No alteration can occur, no altercation. Truth cannot be fooled, tampered with, outwitted, sold short, defaced, defamed, deluded, distorted, disturbed, distraught, diseased, or bedeviled. All is all single, total, entire. Do not invent otherness, a contender, impurity, duality, doubt, dread, damnation, that you cannot do so because there is no otherness in all. Let not your heart be heavy, neither let it be afraid. Rejoice that all truly is all, and not beside can be. This is power in action. This is intelligence functioning. This is purity, love, radiantly being the soul self that is I. Wow, that was a long read. Well, the way I love, like I said, I love Alfred Aiken's way of looking at things. The bottom line is God is all is God. Once one has stood in truth, you remain steadfast in your truth. No matter what the outcome is, no matter what the decision is happening in the world of in the 3D world of virtual reality, you are not moved by it because you know you have declared truth, and truth will reveal its way. It will reveal itself the way it wants to reveal itself. We do not go about trying to fret or to try to feel sad or unhappy. Well, I don't really. Politics. I'm not into politics, but I just found it interesting that just a couple of days when I was trying to figure out which letter I want to share with you guys, and this came up about election, and I say, well, let's even see what are the thoughts of Alfred Aiken concerning outcome of election, especially probably this whatever election he was referring to in 1961. From that letter that was written in March 1961, probably the outcome was not the way people were expecting, and they were not too happy. But from what he said, he stood his ground. It's always God. It's all is God. Anything in between is of no consequences. I hope you found something. So if you, like I said, if you enjoy Alfred Aiken's books, you can always get them from Ilia Press. I'll put the link down, and you can always, the key thing is Alfred Aiken is not for everybody. I always say that it's not for everybody. You must be at a certain level of awareness and understanding to actually stay with the study, because it does not, it requires one who has actually been studying and been in this study. It's open for everybody, but it's gonna kind of shake. You can shake one and jack one out of lethargy. Thanks for watching and listening to this Alfred Aiken letter series. I hope to do more of this. And if you do like the content of our channel, you can subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notification. Once again, thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day.